their experience and their knowledge, including myself, is most heavy centered on the prime side. But as we know and as we've been hearing, the real problems relative to loss mitigation and what you're seeing and working with a servicer tend to be more in the subprime domain. So I wanted to talk and spend a little bit of time to talk about kind of what makes them different and why it's different. Not looking for you to suddenly become a proponent of subprime loans and the servicing that goes into them, but just so you understand why it's different. I think a lot of times understanding why it's different kind of helps you work within the rules a little bit better to maybe have better outcomes. I have subprime investors kind of smashed in on this slide, and what these three types of investors have in common. I mean, private investors can be subprime investors and vice versa. Bank-owned loans, that's when Chase is the investor and the servicer, or Wells Fargo is the investor and the servicer. What these three types of loans have in common is a pool of fewer loans. Okay, when you're talking Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae or HUD, you're talking millions of loans. Okay, at least hundreds of thousands, but probably millions of loans. Okay, in a pool this big, each individual loan represents less individual risk, because there's more risk to spread around the rest of the loans. Do you understand that concept? So if one loan goes bad, we spread the risk. It can be absorbed a little bit more easily. When you're talking bank-owned investors, subprime investors, private investors, you're talking much smaller pools of loans, okay? So each loan represents a greater inherent risk if they fall behind, because there are fewer loans to spread that risk around. Does that concept make sense? Okay? So you have that concept at play. Add to that subprime, so it was already higher risk to begin with. It's in a smaller pool of loans, and now it's defaulted. So relative to loss mitigation, there is a lot less willingness to take future risk. Or if they're going to, they want the backup and the reasoning to be extremely compelling. So you're talking much greater contribution amounts being asked for or requested, maybe even half of the total delinquency to qualify for a modification, half of the total delinquency to qualify for a repayment plan. You're talking probably shorter repayment terms. You might be talking increased documentation requests. So I'm not asking you to agree with how it is, but do you understand the concepts at play that make it that way? I think the tide is turning due to some of the great work that we heard today, where servicers are meeting with the small little securities and the managers of those securities to talk about, okay, let's get modifications as an option here. But I don't think you're going to see the heightened requests for contribution amounts change, because you still have that concept at play that it was a higher risk to begin with, smaller amount of loans in this pool, and now it's defaulted, okay? That doesn't speak well of the future risk. That the risk of the loan is only going to increase, and you still have that heightened risk spread over a smaller number of loans, okay? So a subprime borrower, hopefully, will have saved up a good amount of cash to come to the table with. If not, it can be a difficult road to hoe for you as the counselor working on their behalf. Okay? Okay, that's a depressing note to end on, so I won't. I am going to segue into a lovely 7-minute video that is being brought to you by the task force. I appreciate your attention, and it was a little hurried, so I'm sorry about that. But if you have any questions, I'll be here for a few moments. My flight doesn't leave till 6:30, so I'm not in a hurry. So I'm here, I have cards, and I thank you for your attention.